I'm Leon Martinez, and I primarily focus around nostalgia and how it's like a key to opening dormant memories. So, for a little background, as people get older, they tend to lose memories. It's just part of growing. Everyone will start losing memories and they start to fade. However, strong emotions, primarily positive and negative ones, tend to build like strong, like dormant memories. So, when those start fading, nostalgia is a way to bring those back by triggering those emotions again. And same goes for body senses. You may hear something, taste something, or anything like that. It may bring back nostalgia of that lost memory. And however, at the same time, Alzheimer's and dementia can affect how nostalgia is due to the fact that you're losing memories and it's harder for them to come back, so it may cause a bit of confusion. But the two stimuli material I used were False Nostalgia by Johan Norbergs and My Mother's House by Rachel Zodzi Gonsa. I don't think I said that right. But what False Nostalgia showed was how nostalgia how nostalgia brings back memories. It draws out these dormant memories and brings them back to the surface so you can relive them again. As well as it's a natural state of mind. It is stated in the article that nostalgia is something that is natural that everyone has. And My Mother's House showed me how everyone will keep aging. You can't stop time. It'll keep moving. As much as we want to stop it, it won't. As well as that we continuously look back on our lives as we get older. It'll like reminisce back to bad or good, but we will continuously look back the more we age. This led into my question, how does nostalgia affect the accuracy of memories being recalled from the past? Which was developed my thesis. Around the world, people's memories start to fade the more they age, especially in the older generation. Nostalgia is a key that helps bring strong memories back, and strong emotions have an effect on the accuracy of memories being recalled. So leading into that, emotions and body senses. Primarily, we'll talk about positive and negative emotions, and body senses, all five kind of overall. So leading into positive memories are formed from these positive emotions. The stronger the positive emotion is when you form that memory, the more like positive and stronger it is throughout your life. A quote from Hang-Tin Cho, an assistant professor of sports science and management at Newhang Technological University, and Do-Han Jo, an assistant professor of tourism management, stated that nostalgia can be considered predominantly a positive emotion, which is derived from pleasant remembrance of past experiences, meaning that nostalgic past experiences are a lot more remembered and can be drawn back with the similar circumstances. However, on the contrary, there are negative emotions. Elizabeth Geinzinger, a professor in the Department of Psychology and Neuroscience, states that negative items also are more likely to be remembered with specific detail than positive ones are. This is because we tend to remember the negative a lot more and hold on to negativity. Say if you got bit by like a snake, whenever you see a snake, you can trigger that negative nostalgia, bringing it back to when you were first bitten by one. And then finally, body senses. Kentaro Oba, an academic researcher from Tonaku University, and his colleagues found that previous studies have shown that nostalgic experiences can be triggered by remembering autobiotic memories, AMs, such as through sensory inputs, smells, music, and visual stimuli relate to the past. So essentially, when you do something, you may listen to a song once, and when you listen to it again, it can trigger when you first listened to it with that memory of nostalgia. And same goes for the rest of your senses. That's just nostalgia working throughout your memories and pulling those back. The next thing I talk about primarily are memory accuracy, more of the negativity of it, such as Alzheimer's and dementia, and how when you leave a place for a long period of time, say you're where you once grew up, and come back, it's not the same, so your memory accuracy is a little off. But going into that, Alzheimer's is a current disease going on, and symptoms start showing from around the age of 65. It makes it a lot harder for elderly to remember memories they once had, as well as just they're having trouble like bringing back old memories. Nostalgia helps with Alzheimer's disease, however, is it perfect because they're forgetting these memories, so if nostalgia brings it back, it may cause a lot of confusion. So dementia is very similar, and Sadie Ismail and colleagues of the University of West of England stated that dementia progressively reduces a person's ability to recall memories accurately and reliably, showing that dementia is very similar to Alzheimer's. They're both like just getting rid of memories and making it a lot harder for the elderly to remember. And then my next point would be returning home. In the article, My Mother's House by Rachel Gonzai, it's stated what the F happened here. When we leave people or places, we often imagine that those left behind stay frozen in the embers of our nostalgia and absence. Basically, when you leave somewhere that you've stayed your whole life, you think you have it memorized, but once you go for an extended period of time and come back, things change drastically, so you're not going to remember everything, and the accuracy is completely gone due to the fact you were gone for so long. So this leads into more of my recommendation to how to deal with this, which is to help the elderly by allowing them to experience their past again by doing things that trigger their nostalgia. This will allow them to look back on their memories that have started to fade. So some limitations for this, though, are individual variability. Not everyone responds positively to nostalgia. This could bring back really difficult memories and cause more pain than comfort, as well as access and personalization. You'd have to be very specific. Some people may need the very specifics of what happened in that memory to bring back that memory, as well as cognitive impairment challenges, especially people with Alzheimer's disease and dementia. This could be a lot more confusing when they may not understand what's going on due to the fact that they've lost these memories, so they may be confused where these memories are coming from. And then the implications, which are emotional distress instead of comfort. This can lead to a lot of grief. Like if you remember a loved one that died, it could lead to grief, a lot of sadness, and worst case depression for the elderly. There's also manipulation. This will be like the elderly, the risk of emotional manipulation, them manipulating their emotions due to nostalgia, and dependency on the past. They could be so caught up in just nostalgia that they're focusing solely on the past instead of using that to like make their present a lot better and prepare them a lot more for the future. That's my sources.
How did you handle the differing perspectives during your research in order to reach your conclusion or solution?
I handled these different perspectives, primarily like just the negatives and the positives, with the emotion side and just how it focuses primarily around the elderly. I was looking into it, and the elderly are like the main focus to the fact that they're more likely to develop Alzheimer's and dementia. And some of the sources I found are talking about the doctor side, how these can, how the people treating and helping these patients with Alzheimer's and dementia like have to kind of go a little in like more in depth to their nostalgia, because everyone's like memories are so different that it has to be very personalized for them to actually get that nostalgia to trigger.
And what might be the real world implications or consequences of your findings specifically to our community?
Some real world would be just the elderly might like, if they start like, they may want to overuse nostalgia. Like realistically, they may just use it constantly just to look back on their lives, because as we get older, everyone's going to want to keep looking back on the good times. So it's just a lot of risk of them manipulating that instead of like letting go of the past, just going back to it instead of focusing primarily on what's going on now and just wanting to relive what they once had growing up.